In 1996, Striptease hit theaters, and the headlines hit harder. Critics obsessing over DEMI Moore's record $12.5 million paycheck called it a flop before anyone saw it.
In this exclusive clip from Striptease, DEMI Moore shows off her $12.5 million body.
Presidential candidate Bob Dole even name-dropped it on the 1996 campaign trail, holding it up as an example of Hollywood gone wrong, while praising wholesome hits like Forrest Gump and Apollo 13.
No chance that I am going to roll around naked in creamed corn with a bunch of drunken yahoos trying to stick niblets up my hoo-ha.
But behind the controversy is a wild, funny, fast-paced comedy that's way more entertaining than its reputation suggests. Before Striptease hit theaters in 1996, it began as a novel by author Carl Hiaasen. Castle Rock Entertainment snapped up the movie rights in 1993 before the book even hit shelves. The project came together fast, with producer Mike LaBelle and writer-director Andrew Bergman, whose credits included Honeymoon in Vegas, attached.
The film Striptease is a unique comedy that's as funny as it is sexy. The creative team of producer Mike LaBelle and writer-director Andrew Bergman, the same team that brought you Honeymoon in Vegas and The Freshman, based their screenplay on an offbeat book by popular author Carl Hiaasen.
Castle Rock partner Martin Schaefer told Variety at the time, "We're selective, but when we go into something we're fairly confident it'll be a movie." Striptease became Hiaasen's first national bestseller. A former Miami Herald reporter, he had made a name skewering Florida's bizarre underbelly, from big money fishing contests and the tourist industry to shady developers and crooked politicians with swamp-sized egos. In Striptease, Hiaasen aimed his satirical focus on sleazy South Florida politics, corruption, the child custody system, and the wild world of adult entertainment. The book centers on Erin Grant, a single mom who loses her job as a secretary for the FBI thanks to her ex-husband's criminal record and ends up stripping to pay legal bills and keep custody of her daughter. Things spiral when a corrupt congressman becomes obsessed with her.
I love you girls. I really do. But I can't be working here when I go back to court. Oh yes, Your Honor. I found a new job. I'm working at the Eager Beaver.
Critics loved it. The New York Times praised the book, writing, "His harsh judgments and cold-eyed observations wrapped in so many comic bells and whistles that your sides hurt after a while just from reading. This novel could be dangerous to your ribs. But mostly there's Erin. Keep an eye on her. She and Striptease are winners." Adapting Carl Hiaasen's wild world to film was no small task. Director Andrew Bergman knew that what worked on the page could easily turn grotesque or ridiculous on screen. He leaned into the challenge, determined to keep Hiaasen's bite and absurd humor intact. As Bergman told Entertainment Weekly, "How do you stay true to the tone? You have to be true to those strip clubs. There's always some woman with like 50 triple Ds, they always advertise, and you have to have someone like that. To actually see it, you're walking this fine line. I didn't want to sanitize it, and I didn't, and I got my ass kicked for it."
I've always wanted to do a book by Carl Hiaasen because it's just a wild sense of humor.
I got it. How about pasta wrestling?
Striptease was the first book of his that I saw you could really make a movie out of.
Look, Steven Spielberg's house. I wish he would come in here one night. I'm sure he would have big hearts for me.
You turned his whole life around, girl.
Casting the lead was the key to the movie. DEMI Moore signed on as Erin Grant, even bringing along her real-life daughter Rumor to play her on-screen child.
Really? Really?
Moore was no stranger to generating controversy over her body. In 1991, she caused an uproar when posing for Vanity Fair while 7 months pregnant.
There were moments like with this cover where I just questioned why was it a big deal?
The biggest deal ever.
Why shouldn't a woman who's pregnant feel a sense of kind of sexiness? Or feel beautiful. Like, I didn't understand why that was shameful.
When discussing their casting choices for Striptease, Bergman put it bluntly, "No other major star was willing to take her clothes off, and I was not going to do a TNT version of Striptease with people running around in swimsuits."
Cream corn wrestling. You go into the corn. You set a great example to the other girls.
No.
Striptease. It's sexy, it's sensual, and above all, fun.
Moore's agent, Ron Meyer, was one of Hollywood's most powerful deal makers. She told the New York Times, "There's no one quite like him as a human being, and as an agent, he's in a class by himself." Meyer helped her secure a record-breaking $12.5 million for her role in Striptease, the highest ever paid to a female star at the time.
Just trying to make a living here.
Burt Reynolds lobbied hard for the role of the sleazy congressman. When he won the part, for which he accepted $350,000, a fraction of his usual salary, he called it a career reset, telling Variety, "For the first time, I feel like an actor."
I am Congressman David Dillbeck, and welcome.
If I don't steal the picture, it's my own fault because it's the best part I've ever had.
And he meant it, even in the scene where he's covered head to toe in Vaseline.
I gotta say, even for you, Davey, this is off the charts.
A year later, his comeback came full circle with his role in Boogie Nights, which earned Reynolds an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor.
Jack Horner, filmmaker. I make exotic pictures.
The supporting cast is pitch perfect. Armand Assante as a good cop.
I play a homicide detective in Broward County, Florida. Al Garcia, who is on vacation when suddenly this very complicated case literally washes up on the lake that he's swimming in. Thus begins the adventure that he has following a group of strippers around to find out the source of information that he needs to solve the case.
Robert Patrick as Aaron's criminal ex-husband.
Hey, let's go!
I play Daryl Grant.
What you think for once in your life?
At least I ain't naked. And he sort of thinks he's like a pretty smart guy.
Get in! We're parked in a loading zone. We don't want to break the law.
A lot of these characters are fringe characters in society. They're people we don't normally get to run into in society, and it's a very interesting world to be a part of.
Jerry Grayson is the manager of the Eager Beaver Strip Club.
What do you know about Prozac?
Makes you happy. There's side effects.
Like what?
Limp noodle.
Who cares? I haven't had a hard-on since I started running this place.
Ving Rhames plays the loyal bouncer who always has Aaron's back.
How do I look?
Better than me? That ain't easy. Chad is the bouncer at the club. He's a man who especially loves DEMI Moore's character. I know you, Aaron. Something's up.
Trust me.
He makes it his business to not only protect her while in the club, but also in her life outside of the club.
You're Mrs. Grant?
No, I'm Barbara Bush.
Who is he?
George Bush.
Also featured to great effect are William Hill.
I worship your essence.
Siobhan Fallon.
Got a mouth like a sewer.
Stuart Pankin.
Well, come on in. We have lots to discuss.
Pandora Peaks.
I'm not putting these in corn. No way.
Paul Guilfoyle.
Unbelievable, without doubt, the most asinine piece of human behavior.
And Francis Fisher.
How perfect is this?
You know, I was just thinking.
Fun fact, Fisher hesitated to accept the part when producers Andrew Bergman and Mike Lobel asked her to play Assante's wife. She told them jokingly, "Couldn't you get an actress here in Florida for the role?" Fisher filmed her scenes in just 3 days before heading back to Vancouver with her daughter Francesca, whose father is her ex-husband Clint Eastwood, where she was shooting the TV series Strange Luck.
Everything's gonna be fine.
Like the character Aaron Grant, Fisher was a working mom juggling it all.
Good job, baby.
To prepare for Striptease, DEMI Moore didn't fake it, she trained for it. She became a regular at New York's upscale strip clubs, including Scores, where dancers could pull in up to $3,000 a night. Scores dancer Amanda Dodd told the Daily News, DEMI took notes while the girls danced.
She grilled the girls on everything from makeup to money, and she even brought along a study partner.
She called me over, and I thought that she wanted me to dance for her. And then I realized that she was just buying a dance for Bruce.
They normally charge $7 to go see films, $14 a ticket, folks, okay? And we're taking 7. We're taking the other 7.
Another dancer who coached her said simply, "You're a natural."
DEMI is probably one of the most amazing natural dancers I've ever met. It's been really a collaboration. I designed all of the choreography to really bring out the best of their abilities. Kick. There you go. Exactly. Here. And that's a nice line for you. Now go right down from there. Exactly. And then pop your head up right.
She could get hired at
any place across the United States. I mean, she looked fabulous.
So just how serious was DEMI about doing the stripper thing right? Well, Amanda says she and DEMI spent 2.5 months, 12 to 14 hours a day working on her routines. And you can see the results when Striptease opens on June 28th.
Moore approached the role with respect, not judgment. Personally, I don't find stripping a derogatory profession at all. I've met many of these women and I have respect for them. They are not to be degraded because of their job. I went to the Blue Angel and hung out in their dressing room. It's like a family.
They're regular people. They're mothers. Some of them are married. Some are putting themselves through school.
Each girl looks different, and they should all look like they either choreographed it themselves or had different choreographers.
We were looking for girls, who didn't all look the same, who were funny and had a specific personality, and who could dance and were attractive. And we've got a pretty good cross-section of real-looking women. I think we were very lucky.
Director Andrew Bergman later said filming the movie in Florida was pure fun. Talk about a happy set. We were shooting in Miami for 6 months. It was a gas.
Want to get used by you.
Producer Mike Lobel agreed, praising Moore's performance in Variety. She is fabulous. No movie star has ever done what she's done in this movie. She has tremendous courage. And she'd need it, because the backlash was coming, aimed squarely at her paycheck instead of her performance.
God, I hate this business.
Before the cameras even rolled in September 1995, the media had already turned the film into a punchline. Headlines fixated on Moore's paycheck instead of the movie, branding her with the nickname DEMI MOORE. At the time, she was starring in the just-released adaptation of Nathaniel Hawthorne's classic novel, The Scarlet Letter.
You must wear upon your bodice this symbol.
And she couldn't escape the parallel. On screen, she wore the letter A, and off-screen, it was a $sign.
Put it on. It is not a badge of my shame, but your own.
Moore went on the defensive, explaining her salary to reporters while promoting the movie Now and Then and The Scarlet Letter. They offered me this money because they said they valued what I would bring to the project. I was going to turn it down? I'll never see half of it anyway, after agents, publicists, and everyone else is paid. The moment I got this salary, every other woman in Hollywood went up a notch too. I want other women to do well. I need them to do well.
Striptease is the most talked about movie in DEMI Moore's career, and its $12.5 million paycheck makes DEMI the highest paid actress in Hollywood.
Maybe I'll grind enough for him so it'll be worth the $12 million.
Her payday arrived at a time when salaries in Hollywood were skyrocketing. Jim Carrey had just landed $17 million for The Cable Guy. Sylvester Stallone was earning $20 million for Daylight. And Arnold Schwarzenegger was pulling in over $17 million for Eraser.
Come and get me.
Yet somehow Moore became the face of Hollywood excess. As one unnamed studio executive told Variety, of all the big prices, it might have been DEMI's that started this price hike. Everybody seemed okay at $15 million, but then suddenly she's $3 million away from the biggest male stars. It's been out of control since then. Striptease hit theaters in the jam-packed summer of 1996, competing with Independence Day and Twister, the movies that launched Aliens, Cows, and box office records into the stratosphere. Castle Rock went all out promoting Striptease from a flashy Super Bowl ad.
This summer, the games in Atlanta have a few new contestants. Aaron Grant, gymnastics.
To Moore teaching Barbara Walters a few dance moves at Scores for her pre-Oscar special.
It's a lot about it. It's just communicating that you feel good about yourself.
And touching yourself.
Yeah, it's feeling like I feel good about myself. And I think the feeling of yourself is what starts to open you up so that we're not just...
Yeah, it's not just as if you're doing it.
It starts to move.
They even turned to a brand new marketing frontier at the time, this thing called the internet.
Striptease.com is best enjoyed when browsing with Netscape enhanced by the Shockwave plugin for full multimedia enhancement.
They made every effort to separate Striptease from Showgirls, a movie that, before becoming a legendary cult classic, had crashed and burned with critics and audiences the previous fall.
Striptease. It isn't Showgirls.
We take the cash, we cash the check, we show them what they want to see.
In his book opening weekend, Jim Frederick, a former Castle Rock marketing executive, admitted the rollout didn't exactly unfold the way they'd hoped.
The research leading up to the film's release, the tracking report, was nerve-wracking as usual. Nobody seemed to care. Even men weren't showing any interest. Thematically, the movie was a bit sleazier than the typical Castle Rock film. I mean, we had just released Hamlet, for God's sakes. We were in a slump and needed a hit. We had paid Moore a record fee, which never sits well with other studios, as they would have to step up their prices for star talent too. Then the reviews came out. The movie got trashed by critics on several fronts. Though not explicitly said, I'm sure many found the film sexist. I'm sure they found the campaign sexist as well. The subject matter, including the title, was a marketing hurdle to overcome. Some felt the movie chickened out on the edginess of Hiaasen's book, demanding more nudity and seedy behavior. We were damned if you do, damned if you don't. It seemed that test respondents didn't want to admit their interest in the film when asked in surveys, particularly men, who made up the majority of our opening weekend ticket sales. Unfortunately, the poor critical response and shaky word of mouth led to a steep drop-off of 60% in the second weekend of release, a sign that audiences weren't commending the film to friends.
Striptease opened on June 28, 1996 in 1,979 theaters, landing at number 4 its first weekend. The box office was dominated by The Nutty Professor, with Eraser and Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame right behind. The latter also featured Moore as the voice of Esmeralda.
You're not hurt, are you?
No.
See? No harm done.
Critics weren't kind. Producer Mike LaBelle said their reviews could be summed up in one line. DEMI disrobes for $12.5 million.
Thumbs down from me for Striptease.
Way down from me. I mean, the writing is awful. I didn't read the book, so I didn't have that insight.
It's a great book. I love the book.
I can appreciate the criticism you're giving, because that now makes sense. Her character is deadly boring. Let's face it, as constructed, the only reason to look at this picture is to see her body. She's continuing a progression in which I don't know what's next for her. If you think about it, Demi, has a baby on camera. I mean, that's about it, where she seems to be headed.
Will you please shut up?
A New York Times article about Rosie O'Donnell's then brand new talk show noted that she often opened with what she'd done the night before, including what movies she'd seen. She joked that she didn't like Striptease, saying, "I think I just saved everyone $7.50, but raved about Independence Day."
Independence Day, huge movie, pretty much my favorite movie of the summer, is such a hit that they're thinking of making a sequel already. A second group of spaceships comes down to be near the mothership. It's called Codependence Day. Codependent. Alrighty.
In the New York Times, another critic quipped, "Miss Moore earned about $20,000 a minute making this. Its domestic run stalled at $33 million, weighed down by headlines focused on Demi Moore's paycheck and what she did or didn't take off than the movie itself." Castle Rock president Martin Schaefer summed it up to the Los Angeles Times. "In America, they don't say the word striptease without saying box office bomb.
This is a major disaster."
Sony, which distributed the film, took the hit. Striptease was lumped together with The Cable Guy and Multiplicity as one of the flops of summer '96. When Sony chairman Mark Canton was fired the following September, those titles, Striptease included, were cited as the cause.
I'm talking about the issue of family values.
Then it went political. On July 31st, 1996, presidential candidate Bob Dole singled out Striptease and its perceived low box office gross as a symbol of Hollywood's moral decay, contrasting it with family-friendly hits like Forrest Gump and Apollo 13. Some in the industry may wish to produce movies that are degrading, debasing, tawdry, second-rate, anti-heroic. I would ask them to spare us the market made me do it excuse. This is a free country. No one is forcing you to do anything.
All right, boss.
Shut up, you nitwit!
On July 17, 1996, the late film critic Jay Boyar published an unhinged and hostile takedown of Demi Moore in the Orlando Sentinel after Striptease dropped 60% in its second weekend. His tone was less film criticism than personal attack. He wrote, "And the relentlessly cynical Striptease, with Demi Moore as an earnest stripper who exposes more skin than most major stars would ever dream of doing, made a paltry $4.8 million in its second weekend, about a 60% drop from its $12.3 million opening. Boyar then launched into an oddly detailed anecdote involving his two sons at a Toys R Us, recounting a conversation that sounded suspiciously fabricated. Even without comparing it with the wholesomely rah-rah Independence Day, Striptease would be a nightmare for Moore, or so my sons ages 10 and 14 recently suggested. Surveying rows of unsold Cable Guy merchandise at Toys R Us, the boys were discussing box office bombs when the elder began mimicking a kid's television ad. "Get your Striptease action figure today," he boomed, "with free cat pole. Push her navel and her bra flies off," giggled his brother. My elder son added, "Breast implants sold separately." Hearing this, I wondered which is worse, being a once well-regarded actress who bears it all for an audience that doesn't materialize, or being such a caricature that kids who find flatulence fascinating think you're gross. Either way, I loved it. Boyar then launches into a full-blown rant about his hatred for Demi Moore herself. Why do I deplore Demi? Let me count the ways. For thrusting her granite hard bod into my face for umpteen magazine covers. For confiding to Barbara Walters between giggles and pelvic thrusts that her record $12.5 million striptease paycheck was very meaningful for women. For acting as though it's cool to put your 7-year-old daughter into a film about murderers, kinky congressmen, and dancers whose audiences stuff cash into their crotches.
Don't you ever invade my private life again or I'll kill you, you understand me?
The piece wasn't just criticism. It was an unusually personal, mean-spirited pile-on. Even by the tabloid-fueled standards of the 1990s, the venom in Boyar's article feels wildly out of proportion to the movie itself. It's a reminder of how extreme and uncalled for much of the backlash toward Striptease and toward Demi Moore truly was. The piece reads less like film criticism and more like a targeted character assault, an extreme, unnecessary attack that says far more about the critic's hostility than about Striptease or Moore herself.
You know I'd embrace the opportunity to maim his white ass up.
I know you would, and that's really thoughtful, but I don't think it would help me in court if I had him attacked.
But for all the scolding and finger-pointing, Striptease wasn't the failure everyone said it was. Internationally, it earned $80 million.
You ever make it on a pile of sugar before?
No, but I'm willing to try.
When its worldwide total pushed up to $113 million, the LA Times ran the headline, "Striptease bumps and grinds its way to profitability." In the article, Martin Schaefer says, "There are movies that seem like flops but aren't. That's what Striptease is. In the new world of worldwide communications, you have to look at everything. You can't just look at domestic box office. Domestic box office is about 25% of the overall revenue of the money that comes in on a film." And producer Mike Lobel added, "We got our redemption. Thank God for the rest of the world." And indeed, the rest of the world loved it. The film hit #1 in Italy, Germany, and Brazil, and #2 in Japan behind The Rock.
Oh, welcome!
Director Andrew Bergman, who took plenty of heat back home, never backed down. And the funny thing was, Hiaasen loved the movie. He thought it was really true to the book, which I wanted to do. I don't regret it. I was treated like a freaking child molester for making that movie, but so be it. Bergman also pointed out that Striptease was a massive home video success. Ultimately, the joke is that everything is such a bomb, but that movie did better than almost anything I've been involved with. All the subsidiary stuff was gigantic. People said, I wouldn't be caught dead seeing it. And suddenly when it's available in a rental store, it's, I'll get Schindler's List and Striptease. It's like when you're a kid and you're buying condoms at a drugstore, but you buy 12 tubes of toothpaste too. When the book's author, Carl Hiaasen, was asked about his opinion on the movie shortly after it opened, he said, I thought it was pretty funny. I can't complain. They kept the Vaseline scene, the cockroach scene, and the snake scene. That's my contribution to culture this year.
It's down in my boots. I can feel it squishing between my toes.
All right, okay. Davey, the young Christians are waiting.
Years later, Demi Moore reflected on the backlash for Striptease and her follow-up movie G.I. Jane, where she played the first female Navy SEAL, in a conversation with the SAG-AFTRA Foundation.
Almost as if by doing Striptease, I had betrayed women, and then in G.I. Jane, I had betrayed men and was being paid. And so it's like it's almost like you don't get to have too much. And so there was a tearing me down that occurred. Again, I don't take it personal. I think anybody whoever it had been, they would have been hit.
And here's the thing, Striptease deserved better. With Andrew Bergman's sly direction and the sleek cinematography, the movie is a lot of fun, never takes itself too seriously, and has a great soundtrack, packed with a lot of Annie Lennox tracks and some Prince. Lennox's songs like Little Bird, Money Can Buy It, and Cold turn scenes that could have played as pure camp into moments of melancholy and quiet power, giving Aaron Grant not just rhythm, but soul.
Come to me, run to me, do and be done with me. Cold, cold, cold.
And DEMI Moore lives up to the hype. She looks phenomenal. Beneath all the tabloid noise is a sharp, funny, self-aware, and genuinely entertaining film that never got its fair shot.
You want to make it up to me?
I beg your pardon?
When you strip away the headlines from Striptease, it isn't a punchline, it's campy, colorful, and smarter than it looks.
Larry King's at table 6.
Annie Lennox's music gives it heart, Moore gives it power.
Thank you very much.
There's something in this film for everyone.
Maybe it's time we finally give it the encore it deserves.
That I am going to roll around naked in creamed corn with a bunch of drunken yahoos trying to stick niblets up my hoo-ha.